yeah, it's still good. Helldivers 2 made a splash onto the gaming scene last year. What started as a game that nobody really had on their radar to a global phenomena in the span of just a few weeks is truly one of the most patriotic experiences of gaming within the last decade. With the announcement of a new enemy faction a few months ago and Helldivers winning the best ongoing game of 2024, Helldivers is back, baby. So I thought I'd take this time to review what made Helldivers so great and why it deserved to win the best ongoing game award. With that out of the way, let's go, divers! I think what truly makes Helldivers a unique experience is just how immersive the world of the game is. Sure, every map is procedurally generated, but each world still feels very much alive. From the sandy plains of Durgan to the frosty shores of Heath, from the volcanic landscapes of Hellmire to the Before you ask, yes, I was there. Like I was saying, each planet feels unique in its own way, even if they reuse climates sometimes. And is it just me, or do games with destructible environments just feel a lot better than ones that don't? Just watching how each explosion doesn't just get covered up after a few seconds like every other game's, and instead the crater just stays there. Not just the craters, but bodies of enemies also stay for a while, although not forever, unfortunately. The addition of these small features just makes each kill and hit that you land much more powerful. Bugs and bots don't just stumble over or have a PNG blood effect go everywhere every time they get hit. Instead, their arms fall off, blood and goo spray everywhere, and if you knock off a few of their limbs, they can charge and stumble towards you just to make sure that you die. Arrowhead could have just done something simple. Simple kills and effects, basic environments, but they went that extra mile, and for that, they deserve our respect. If there's one way to have your game resonate with people, it's to make it as memeable as possible, and Helldivers certainly has this quality with it. With its overly satirical nature poking fun at ultra-nationalistic countries, it was pretty clear that so many memes would come of this. I mean, when you have a literal US politician tweeting out references to your game, you know you've struck a chord with people. And one simple addition to the game I think highlights this point: the loading tips. Every citizen is equally important to the war effort, but Helldivers are the most important. For budgetary reasons, Hellbombs require manual arming, but don't stick around unless you're looking for a spot on the Wall of Martyrs. Remember, freedom! If at first you don't succeed, dive again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Did you know that tips are shown during these transition sequences? When in doubt, don't think. Simply shout, "For democracy!" and charge headfirst into your problems. Don't forget to take breaks. That is if you want to be remembered as a coward!
Astros, don't you know that Super Earth is actually the bad guys? Cause it's pretty clear from the portrayal in the game that they're clearly wrong and blah 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 blah.
Okay, yes, I'm aware that Super Earth is clearly the bad guys, and yes, I'm aware that, although subtle, the game does show this. But honestly, the game not really taking itself seriously is probably the best for its narrative, since it differentiates itself from other games who, like Helldivers, portrays an ultra-nationalistic future. But where they tend to show the horror in detail and don't beat around the bush, Helldivers is able to portray it in a subtle way, and that's what makes it better in my opinion. If you don't want to look around, and if you want to focus on shooting and the explosions, then that's all good. But those who are a little more astute will notice that there's something afoot. It's pretty clear that the game takes inspiration from a movie called Starship Troopers, and if you've seen that movie, then you could probably point out a lot of similarities. But one of the key parallels is this idea of being susceptible to propaganda, and how easily propaganda can be dismantled if you just simply think about things for a little bit. I'm not not going to go through all the details, as doing so would be its own separate video, but all I'll say is for right now, it's one of the most unique ways of telling a story in a game, and it's probably my favorite one to date. If there are two words that have become the most infamous in the gaming community, it would have to be live service. Live service games have become synonymous with bad. Games like Conquered, Anthem, Overwatch, you get the point. For the most part, they were poorly designed games with tons of bugs and predatory microtransactions. And while Helldivers 2 is a live service game, it's a bit different from most others. The whole point of the game is that every player is a combatant in a galactic-spanning war. Now obviously that means you're able to take planets should you complete enough missions, but the cool thing is that so can the enemy factions. It's essentially like a gigantic D&D game where the developers are the dungeon masters. With every planet taken by the Helldivers, there's another planet lost. It's a pretty genius way to do a live service game. Now, there are microtransactions in the game, but they really are micro, in the sense that you're able to purchase a new set of armor for just $2. You can get a pretty good amount of super credits every mission if you know how to farm them, but if you don't feel like farming, then a warbond is gonna net you around $10. I'm a bit iffy on the price, but considering you're able to see each one beforehand and know exactly what you're paying for, I think it's still fine. Plus, they give you a free warbond when you purchase the game, and completing it fully nets you enough super credits to get another. But in the end, this will all come down to a personal preference. Personally, I'm willing to forgive it. I'm able to buy what I want, when I want, and I don't mind sinking hours into the game to get more, especially since the game by itself is a lot of fun. But if you don't like it, I totally understand. All I would ask is that you at least suspend your incredulity there. After all, the game by itself is a lot of fun, even if you don't get to play with all the toys. Overall, Helldivers 2 is one of the best multiplayer games that I've played in a long time. From its presentation, to its gameplay, to its humor. All of it blends together into a genuinely fun and thrilling experience. And that's why, even 1 year later, Helldivers 2 is still awesome. I've been Osros, and thank you for watching. Now go out there and spread some freedom and democracy, Helldivers!